Hey everyone, welcome to Busy Garden Life. It is fall and it is time to start the fall cleanup in the garden. It's a sad time of year because we are ending the season of fresh vegetables and fruits, but I like to at least get some of the stuff kind of cleaned up and ready for the spring. Now whenever I start the fall cleanup, I'm always excited to kind of clean things up and make it easier in the springtime. And then after like a day of doing it, I go, this is a lot and it saddens me. So I end up not doing as much as I typically want to in the fall. But hopefully this year I'll actually have a little bit more motivation to do more. We'll see, right? Yesterday I worked a lot on the strawberry plants, kind of weeded them, clipped off the runners just so that they create their own plants and their own berries next year. And then I didn't completely finish it, but I got quite a bit done. And then today I want to start working on this little zinnia patch over here. This whole thing. I'm going to kind of cut the flowers so that I can enjoy those. But ultimately, I need to completely clean this area out. Reason being, I do have some rhubarb that I want to plant and some horseradish, and I want to plant them near the strawberry patch because they are good companion plants. And strawberries, rhubarb, horseradish, those come back every year. So if you're planting those, you need to find a spot in the garden that you're okay keeping them every year. So I wanted to kind of put them a little bit off in the corner over there. I don't need a ton of them. Rhubarb plants do spread, so do horseradish. So I'm just going to start with a small area and through years hoping that I can kind of contain it a little bit. We'll see. Everybody knows how that goes. Sometimes it just spreads like wildfire and there's not much you can do. So anyway, my biggest project today is to clean this area out and get it ready. I'm going to lay some cardboard, and then this afternoon, the kids are going to clean out the chicken coop again, and I'm going to use the shavings, the mulch shavings that we use for the chicken coop. I'm going to put that on top of the cardboard so that it actually helps to keep that cardboard down because it is supposed to kind of rain and get a little windy tonight and tomorrow. So my goal is to at least accomplish this area today. So let's see how much I can actually get done. Okay, so I spent an hour this morning cleaning that up. Doesn't that look so much better? Still have a little bit of work to do, but the kids are starting to clean the chicken coop. So I want to get some of these boxes down so that I can put the shavings on top of them. And it is supposed to rain here in the next couple hours. So I really want to get this done before it rains. That way that cardboard has time to get a little wet and it's easier for me to plant the rhubarb and the horseradish through. So I'm going to work on that. Let me talk about the cardboard for just a second. I use a lot of the Amazon boxes or the boxes that are good cardboard. I find that it does tend to break down a lot easier and a lot better when you have just the regular cardboard. I try to get as much of like the plastic tape or the packing tape off as much as possible. They do, some of those Amazon boxes nowadays or boxes in general have that tape that does break down. Let me see if I can show you a little bit of that. You know, like this tape right here, or this black tape. Where is it? There you go. That black tape there, that kind of breaks down a lot better here. So that can stay on, but typically the packing tape, you want to try to get as much as you can off of that because it does not actually decompose and break down. So I like to use these boxes. You can use boxes kind of like your Cheerio boxes that have that slick outer, portion of it. I just find that it doesn't tend to break down as well. Those are also good for maybe like around the edge of the garden where you're just trying to help with weeds as opposed to where you're planting your plants. So anyway, that was a nice side note. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and get these pile of boxes down. I also kind of have some of this thin paper. I'm going to lay strips of that. I actually might do that where I'm going to plant the stuff because it's very thin, and then I'm just going to put some of the chicken shavings over top of it. But I'm just going to kind of use this whole area here, try to get it ready. I do have some strawberry plants that are moving their way into this area, so I do need to kind of clip those, dig them up, and either replant them or give them away to somebody. So let's get going on the second phase of our fall cleanup. Okay, we have put our cardboard down, we put all of the chicken shavings down, so it is ready for the rhubarb and the horseradish root. I also, while the kids were cleaning out the chicken coop, I was able to get through and weed the whole area for my garlic. Now, I didn't buy and plant enough garlic last year in order to use some of those cloves in order to replant. So I ended up buying a lot more in order to kind of plant from there. So I'm waiting to still get those in, but while I'm waiting to get them in, everything's nice and weeded. I do need to get more cardboard, and then when we clean the chicken coop in 2 more weeks, I will lay that stuff down for the garlic. So check out the progress we made. Look at how much nicer that looks. It's nice and open and all ready for planting. All right, so phase 3 of this fall cleanup today is to plant. So let's get planting. It is time to plant the rhubarb and the garlic and the horseradish. Though I'm not quite sure where I want to put the horseradish. At first, I wanted to put it next to the rhubarb and strawberries, but that stuff grows like weeds, so I'm not sure that I want it in the garden. I might try to find like maybe an area in a corner over there by the chicken coop, or somewhere outside. I don't know yet, so that might still have to wait a little bit. But I've got some nice big things of rhubarb here. So I got nice big things. You can see they're kind of like these tubular roots here. They're huge. I can cut them in half too. I got this big one here, and then I've got another box of them right here. So I am going to plant them alongside the strawberries in this area. I'm just going to kind of plant them along there, and then my goal is to contain it to this row as much as I can, as it goes along. So I'm going to try to make sure that it doesn't go to seed and that the roots just kind of keep it up on its own year after year. So when I was picking this stuff up from my patient, he gave me another big, huge haul of rhubarb. Now, I was not aware that rhubarb can be picked all year long. I assumed it was just a spring plant. A lot of people use it in the spring with strawberries, making strawberry rhubarb pie or jam, and so I assumed it was just a spring. I've never actually dealt with this, but he just gave me a whole bunch for a fall harvest, so I harvested a bunch of that, and I'm actually going to try to freeze dry it. So stay tuned to see if that actually works for the next video. But anyway, long story short, we got our rhubarb plants. I've got some rhubarb inside to do later, and then I'm just going to plant the rhubarb, and then I also have my garlic. I'm going to plant that all out, and we are going to get things ready to start for next spring already. Okay, our rhubarb is done, and that took a lot because I didn't have a spade shovel. It was a flat, and those just do not dig very well. But it's all done. We got that done. Now I'm going to head into my garlic row and get all of that planted right next. It's before the frost, so as long as your garlic is planted before frost, you are good. So let's get going with that, get that in the ground before we lose time for that one. So to plant garlic, you want to plant it about 4 inches in the ground and then 4 to 6 inches apart. I'm going to do 2 to 3 rows. I have a little bit more than a little bit more for another 3rd row, but not all the way down. But anyway, I'm going to kind of go into 2 rows. You can get quite a bit of garlic in just 1 row, which I like. You can grow them pretty close together and save some spots in the garden. But my goal is to get, gosh, I probably have about 80 cloves of garlic, which is great because then that way I'm using a lot of those bulbs next year to grow for the following year, and hopefully this is my last year of having to buy it, and I can just keep reusing what I grow and then have enough to use throughout the year. So anyway, let's get planting. I don't have much time because my husband wants to take my son hunting, so let's see how fast we can do this. All right, I did it. 25 minutes. It wasn't the 8 minutes that Andrew needed me to get it done, but we did it. One thing I did forget to mention is when you are planting your garlic, you want to make sure that you're taking those bulbs apart and then planting each clove with the pointier end to the top. That way it kind of sprouts up, and then you get the roots from the bottom of it, you know, rooting into the ground. So about 4 inches deep, 4 inches apart, 4 to 6 inches apart, and then making sure that you're planting it pointing up. I'm also going to go through, and you can use mulch or leaves. Next time we clean out the chicken coop this weekend, I'm actually going to pile those on top, pile all of that on top. You do want to plant them, or you do want to put something on top of them, you know, a good 4 inches deep or so, in order to protect them throughout the winter. So I'm going to go through and put like a nice thick layer of those pine shavings from the chicken coop right on top over this weekend. So once you have it planted, make sure that you are covering it really good. 1, it helps with weeds, and 2, it just helps to protect them over the weekend or over the winter. So there you have it. We have cleaned up this area. We have planted our rhubarb for the spring. We have planted our garlic for next summer. Typically, those are good to harvest 8 to 10 months after planting. So probably July-ish, we will be able, July or August next year, we'll be able to pull those up. So anyway, super excited. We got a big project done here. Ready for the winter and spring already next year. I'm going to kind of work here and there on other things, putting more cardboard down, laying the wood chips as we need to, and just getting the garden more ready for next year, because I have got to combat these weeds and make this much more easier and manageable for me in the summer months. So stay tuned for whatever we're going to do next. If you liked the video and you're planting rhubarb and garlic or whatever you're planting and getting ready for the spring next year, drop them in the comments so I can see what your gardening is like this fall. All right, we will see you next time.